Hey everybody, Tony D and Little Joan here with your Hollywoke hot take. My old boss, Bill Maher, he's pictured here on Deadline, and man, they used a picture. If it ain't photoshopped, no way this is him. It looks photoshopped to hell. They have smoothed out too many lines on him. Either that or he had some work that he ain't going to be able to move his face. Um, it's a weird picture. It's a weird picture. I think it's photoshopped. I think it's photoshopped to hell. I think Bill should say something about this photo. I don't think he should use it. I don't think it's a good. I don't think it's a good photo of him. But anyhow, Kellyanne Conway tells Bill Maher people are better off thanks to Trump. He tells President, pack your ass and go. Yeah, Bill is still trying to. He still tries to do comedy, and it's kind of like, he's kind of trying to be a bad boy and say things that we all think, that kind of thing. So I don't blame him too much. I mean, I think part of the struggle that Bill is facing is he's actually still trying to do comedy, but because of, I think, his position and where he is, I think he's kind of trapped in the pseudo-reality, although he's right at the edge of it. Sometimes he seems to break out of it, and then other times, no. And the pseudo-reality that I think a lot of people in Hollywood just don't get is that I think they are in the minority in terms of their politics. And they just don't get that. They just don't get that. They don't want to hear it. They don't even want to entertain the notion that that's the case. And a lot of things that came up over these past years that was either blocked by big tech or big media, they just don't want to entertain or believe. Or they entertain it kind of in the way that, I sent some people a link to OAN. It was a very sort of simple news segment about the beer virus and, how they're over-reporting the numbers. And I got blasted by someone, and I said, just because it's a right-wing news source doesn't mean everything it puts out is total bunk. And, it made a few salient points. Now, you could argue that some of the other points they made were wrong or whatever. But if you're going to argue that OAN is a bad source of news because they got things wrong in the past, then how can you say CNN or Dr. Fauci are reliable sources of information? They have gotten things way wrong in the past, and they have a wider audience. So, you have to kind of take in all the information. And I don't think, because we're talking about comedians and a guy like Bill Maher is a comedian at heart, he didn't have the time to do the research. He relies on his writers. Maybe a handful of his writers are, out of the bubble, but I kind of doubt it. It's hard to be in the business and be outside the bubble, because the moment they censor outside the bubble, yeah, you're kind of gone. The moment you write some jokes, that are perceived as pro-Trump, you're in trouble, because they a guy like Bill might try one or two, but I think most comedians now, no, you're just gone. I mean, Jimmy Kimmel, you think he's going to have any pro-Trump writers on his staff? I don't think so, but who knows? And speaking of late night, addressing the riots and what's to come, Stephen Colbert has, I think, destroyed his comedy, and there's a character in Hollywoke who's sort of part like him, and it's like he lives in that pseudo-reality, and that's what I tried to portray in the book. He's living in a pseudo-reality, and he just doesn't understand why he's not funny anymore. He doesn't understand, and he keeps doing the same things, and someone in the book tells him, you're just, I don't care about any of these things. You're not talking about anything that makes any sense anymore. And he just immediately assumes they're Trump supporters and dismisses them. And you can't do that. You can't do that. There's a whole audience out there of Trump supporters, and people who just don't like Biden or are not political at all. I think these guys have completely alienated that. I mean, definitely Samantha Bee. I don't know how Samantha Bee and what's the other woman? Lisa Ling? Is it Ling? Something like that. I don't remember her name. And now she's got a dog. I don't think she had a dog before, but you know, Late Night Lately. Is that the name of the show, or am I confusing her with someone else? I don't know. But I mean, people aren't even watching TV, let alone late night talk shows that are way too numerous. There's just too many of them. So I don't know how these guys, Hollywood Reporter's Late Night Lately rounds up the best sketches and guests. Oh, I guess that's the name of the column, Late Night Lately. I don't know what her show is. Best sketches and guests. I can't imagine. And I don't watch it. And I'm the audience now. I mean, I grew up on this kind of stuff, and I don't watch it. So I guess there's still people my age watching it who still have TV, I guess. Ben Stiller on Big Tech banning Trump. Derisive rhetoric has real-life consequences. Thank you, Zoolander. It's great to be lectured by a guy who played a stupid male model, and he played the villain in Dodgeball and was great in Tropic Thunder. This guy's just too funny to be wasting his time on this stuff. But, they all feel the need to comment. Part of this is Breitbart digging it up. Breitbart's on the anti-woke side, and they're looking for things like this so they can blast people. But still, even going on, some rando podcast to say, "Oh, I hate Trump too." Like, what's it going to get you at this point? I don't have a career worth millions of dollars to, risk on speaking out politically. This isn't a brave stance. He's not risking anything by doing this. All he's doing is alienating the Trump supporters. And he's ruining his brand. When I see stuff like this, like Stephen Colbert, I no longer associate with comedy. He's killed that for me. I remember the old days when he was funny, but now when I think, oh, Stephen Colbert's having a comedy special, I would just go, I'm out. Whereas back in the Bush era, I would have been like, oh, that sounds amazing. Ben Stiller, I mean, in my view, he's damaging his brand by doing this. He has a comedy brand. It's supposed to be fun. It's not supposed to be serious. He's not supposed to be lecturing the president, especially on something like freedom of speech, where, he's in comedy and you're supposed to, push the edge of the boundary here. You're not going to get anybody pushing the edge who's like, oh, there's certain things we shouldn't say, everybody. I'm a good little person. Terrible. And finally, in the biggest display of tone deafness from Hollywood stars headlining 5 days of Biden inaugural events to celebrate America United. It's got Biden in the center with the celebrities around him. I mean, it might as well be, Tom Hanks and Whoopi Goldberg holding him up by his arms like Weekend at Bernie's. These guys are all lending their celebrity to Biden in desperate hope that everybody will go back to the Obama years. That can't happen. Can't happen. First off, these people don't have small businesses that are being crushed under this pandemic in blue states. Only blue states. Biden could just open up the country. That's all he has to do. Instead, he's trying to close the rest of the country. I don't know what he expects to have happen at this point. I honestly don't. My hope is that he'll get in, a couple of weeks go by, and then he'll magically discover the science again, and then spin it in the opposite direction, and everything will open up, and we'll go on to our lives. Maybe being forced to wear a mask or have a passport. I don't know. But I don't want any of that. But I definitely want him to open the country. And we should continue to pressure our representatives for that. You shouldn't stop giving up. You shouldn't give up on the system. Don't give up on the system. Because these guys do respond to pressure. They just respond to it in a way, a Republican responds differently than a Democrat. So if a Republican is pressured on something they don't like, and a Democrat, what they do is they succumb to the pressure, but they stage it in such a way like, well, I couldn't do anything about it. The Democrats made me. Well, we couldn't do anything about it. The Republicans forced my hand. That's what they'll do. So it's not like your pressure won't work. It's just that they will couch it in a way that, they won't take any responsibility for it. So, in Biden's case, he's the president now. So everything in terms of the narrative is going to shift. Once he's the president, everything shifts in the narrative. So you got all these celebrities, and the festivities surrounding Joe Biden's inauguration, this is from Breitbart, keep in mind, officially begins Saturday with today, a concert celebrating diversity. Again, following another 4 days packed with anti-Trump Hollywood celebrities. Celebrating diversity makes it political. Just have a celebration. Don't point out the races of the people in there. Oh, look how diverse this is. Look how diverse. We're wonderful people because we hire diverse people. You make it a thing. You turn it into a quota system. You undermine your own message. Just do it. Just do it. Just have the thing. Don't wear your virtue signaling on your sleeve. Just have the festivity. People will count the faces anyway. Once you say, oh, it's a celebration of diversity, okay, now you've made it a political thing. Now you've implied, well, the other side, see, they wouldn't celebrate diversity. Okay. Yeah, maybe they would just have a celebration or an inauguration and call it a day. 5 days, how much is this costing us? But this isn't going to do anything. It's just going to put a unity sheen on the people who are already, the only people who are going to watch this are the people who are already down with Biden, and they're just desperate to see a sign like, oh, it's normal again. Oh, yeah. Biden chosen theme for the inauguration is America United. Okay. That's a terrible for America United. Okay. It's like saying like, oh, that's it. We're united again. At least say America coming together. At least you could try to say that it's in the process. But man, this unity message, whew. Though the roster of artistic talent, which include Lady Gaga singing the national anthem, represents some of Hollywood's most left-wing voices. Many of the events will be virtual in keeping with beer virus safety protocols. Oh boy, that's even worse. That's even worse. Talk about people tuning out. And that's what we want, really. From the Trump supporters, we want this to be the lowest rated thing in television history and on the internet. Do not watch it. Do not give them a click. Do not give them a turn. Don't put it on. Go outside or whatever. Just don't watch it. Just don't look. Saturday celebration kicks off with America United, an inauguration welcome event celebrating America's change makers. Jesus. You couldn't just stick with America United? America United, an inauguration welcome event celebrating America's change makers. Oh my God. This is the tone deafness of the left and of the Democrats now. This is the kind of thing the Republicans did when they were in power, right? They would go, America, everyone loves America, and America today in America. It's like, you're trying too hard. The inauguration committee said the concert will, quote, celebrate America and reflect our honor and history and highlight the incredible diversity of the nation. Again, you don't have to keep saying it. It makes you weak. It will feature appearances by anti-Trump celebrities, and that's from Breitbart. Whoopi Goldberg, Netflix's atypical actor Nick Dodani, I don't know who that is, and actress Cristela Alonso and actor Darren Criss. I don't know any of these people except Whoopi. And Whoopi, look, I think Whoopi's a bad choice too. I mean, Whoopi is on The View, and The View has gotten really divisive. I mean, what they did to Donald Trump Jr. the day he came on was terrible. But, I mean, they're just tone deaf. And then you got Representative Grace Meng and Atlanta Mayor Keisha Lance Bottoms also participate. Why? Why? Don't you have something to do? Don't you have, I mean, especially Mayor Keisha Bottoms. Mayor, you should be back in Atlanta. But, you know, the Resistance Revival Choir? Really? Is set to perform during the concert. As its name suggests, the ensemble, which consists of female and gender non-binary singers, was founded in opposition to President Trump. Yeah, America United. See how united we are? Also set to perform Grammy-nominated the Black Pumas. Like any of the big bands, you know, I kind of don't blame them. They're just playing a gig. They're just musicians. But this Resistance Revival Choir, dumb move, Democrats. I mean, America United. Oh, here's a bunch of people who hate you. Here's a bunch of people who are in the resistance against Donald Trump, which we removed. Dumb. Not uniting at all. Other concerts leading up to the Inauguration Day included United We Serve. Oof. Very Orwellian name. Which will honor the National Day of Service on January 18th and feature appearances by Diane Warren, Lynn Whitfield, and Bebe Winyaz, and a nationwide beer virus themed memorial event on January 19th. Whew, that sounds depressing and boring and horrible. I'm not saying ignore the beer virus or the people who died. And certainly, you know, Biden can mention it in a speech or whatever, but my God, you're going to have a memorial event. How long is that going to go on? You're going to have some kind of somber event where you light candles and you have a little altar where you have in memory of those who died. Like, really? How is that going to help? How is that uniting the nation? How is that going to make people happy? You brought in all these Hollywood celebrities. Why? To depress people? You brought them in to say, we're back, America. This is totally the wrong way to do it. Eva Longoria and Kerry Washington will serve as hosts for the inauguration telecast, while Bruce Springsteen, Foo Fighters, John Legend also set to appear. Later in the day, Tom Hanks will host a primetime telecast titled Celebrating America, where it will be on the three major networks and cable channels, including CNN and MSNBC. So I guess not Fox. As Breitbart News reported, Deborah Messing will co-host a pre-inauguration fundraiser event on Sunday with actor Keegan-Michael Key. Sad. It will feature performances by Carole King, will.i.am, James Taylor, Fall Out Boy, Michael Bivins, Ben Harper, and AJR. Yes, because as we all know, the Democrats need your money. And it's not just enough to tax you. They're going to need you to also donate. Crazy. Messing has promoted physical violence against President Trump, saying in a tweet that she hopes the president gets AR'd in prison. The tweet hasn't penalized the Hollywood actress, whose comment appears to violate the platform's terms of service. It certainly does. And I don't think she's serious, and I disagree with the censorship, but if you're going to censor everybody else, at least be consistent in your views. But of course, Twitter's not. Rules for thee, but not for me. Rules for certain people that we don't like. Oh, but you have the right political views? Oh, do what you want. Go ahead, Deborah. Say whatever you want. You're a good person. They're bad people. They're good people. Another inauguration fundraiser set for Friday will feature cast members from the TV series The West Wing, I guess that was yesterday, Scandal, and Designated Survivor. Actor and former Obama staffer Cal Penn will host the event. It all sounds incredibly boring. I wouldn't watch it, even if it was Trump. You know, you watch stuff for Trump because Trump, you don't know what he's going to do. And he's a showman. Biden, I mean, does he even know where he is at this point? The guy's been hidden for months. This is all going to be very sad and depressing and aggravating. Don't watch it. I can tell you exactly what's going to happen. Someone like Whoopi Goldberg's going to get up there and she's going to read this pre-written thing where she says, America is great, you know, except those people. Ha 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 ha. You know, that kind of snarkiness. Like, she'll have little nods and asides, I'm predicting, to Trump supporters, but only in a negative way. Same thing with, you know, they won't refer to Trump directly. They'll refer to the dark time that we just came through. You know, that's the way they'll couch it, without actually directly saying that. And then, you know, they'll talk about Joe Biden like he's all goodness and light in the future and what it holds. And, you know, Kamala Harris is VP and everything's going to be wonderful and great. And look at all the diverse faces we have here. Look at them. Look at them. So don't watch it. Trust me, your blood pressure will probably just go through the roof when you hear stuff like that. And it'll be boring anyway. You know, nobody here is going to say anything off script or do anything weird. You'll get the highlights of it, you know, the next day. And that's what you want. You want them to get 0 ratings and 0 hits on YouTube. And if they do, you know, YouTube will probably game it for them, or Google will. But don't give them the clicks. That's what I say. Just don't look. Just don't look.